life that
You're a low life. You're the one sitting on the throne trying to tell me I'm a low life. You don't know nothing about me.
Ms. Hollis, you and your daughter, Ms. Hollenquist, are suing your second cousin, Mr. Harris.
Right.
Your mother, Ms. Douglas, is here as witness. You, ma'am, allege that when no one would help your second cousin out, you decided to take him in, and he repaid you by stealing a number of gold coins, an iPod Touch, 2 PSPs belonging to some children, and a number of other items. You first, ma'am.
Anthony is my second cousin to my first cousin, my favorite cousin, as a matter of fact. When I learned that Anthony had become homeless when he was living with his grandmother,
Is that you, ma'am?
No.
Another grandmother.
Right. When I learned of it, I said, well, I'm a stable family member. You know, I'll take him in. He was in his last year of high school. I wanted to make sure he graduated from high school, and I took him in. I treated him just like he was my own child. I would give Anthony and my oldest daughter, Miracle, $20 a week for spending money after school to buy snacks or whatever, because they complained about the school lunch. So Anthony came to me and he told me that he lost his $20. And I said, well, I don't have any replace money. And for that, he took the gold coins. And when I spoke to him about it, I said, why did you do it?
Now, the gold coins are interesting. They're the Sacagawea coins.
Right.
You're seeking to acquire those because apparently recently they have assumed a very high value.
Right.
Now, let me hear from you about the rest of these things. You have a 9-year-old and a 9-year-old.
I have twins. I have twins that are 9, and then I have an 11-year-old.
Now, the other items, the PSPs, those belong to those 3 or 2?
2.
2. All right. Do you have
11.
any information about the circumstances of the disappearance of those items?
Yes. After Anthony stole the coins, and he admitted it to me as well.
He says he got 5 of them.
Yeah, 5.
No.
Well, hold on. That's his admission.
Okay.
How many do you say he took?
28.
28.
And also
28. All right, I got it. 28.
Sorry.
He says 5. All right, keep going.
Okay. I was at work, and Anthony came by. He asked the children, can he see their PSP, the charger, and a game? Once he left, my 11-year-old called me, and she was crying, and she said, Mommy, I think Anthony took my PSP. I said, look, I'm on my way home. We'll look for it together.
Well, anyway, to make a long story short, you could not find it, and you say that he ultimately, in effect, confessed to taking the items. All right? Now.
Okay, well, while Anthony was still living with us, he asked me one day, he was going to the store, if he could see the iPod in question so he could listen to music on his way there and on his way back. I said, sure, go for it. I was at home reading a book. After he left, he called my mom and told her that he was, quote unquote, jacked for the the iPod Touch. And then
somebody heisted it from him.
Right.
Your Honor, can I say something, please? While he went to the store, I had left the house to go purchase him a brand new bed. Because, again, I was treating him just like he was my own child. Anthony calls me.
I'm sorry, she's just sitting here lying.
Hold on, wait, did you not get?
Well, I understood what you said.
Well, then act on it and keep your mouth shut.
All right, Your Honor.
Okay, Your Honor. I had left the house to go purchase Anthony a new bed. Anthony called me via his own cell phone and says he just got jacked.
In other words, somebody took the item from him.
Correct. And I said, Anthony, you're calling me from your cell phone. And he goes, yeah, it was in my pocket. I said, wait a minute. When you get jacked, they're going to pocket check you first.
Hold on. It makes no difference because you get substituted from theft. You get the concept of a bailment that then arises. So I won't go into that right now, but in either situation, the result would be the same. Now, ma'am, what do you have to offer to this mix?
I was just there watching the way Anthony, he was good with the little kids, you know, helping them out and stuff. And when it comes time for things to be stolen. He has that little quirk about him, you know? He has a way of figuring out a way when he goes around with his hands. He's very, very manipulative with
Called
his hands.
sleight of hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Way
yeah.
of making things disappear.
Yeah.
Now you see it, now you don't. There you go.
Exactly.
Very good. All right. Now, hold your point. I'll come back to you, both of you. Now, pass up your documentation, Madam Sonia. Would you be so kind? Thank you. Now, Mr. Harris, you have the floor.
Yes, Your Honor. Let me start with the iPod Touch, which it wasn't an iPod Touch. It was a regular video iPod. It was an 80 gig iPod. And we obtained the iPod because we were shopping at Petco for some dogs that we had just found off the street, and she wanted to take care of them. So we went to Petco, and she found the iPod in the purse, along with the ID and along with credit cards, and there was a wallet in the purse. And I wanted the iPod bad, I'm not going to lie about it, so I asked if I can have it, along with Miracle asking if she can have it. When Sunday came to the conclusion that it was going to be the family's iPod, that's how it was going to be. I left it at that. We moved to Palmdale. I asked Miracle if I can use the iPod because I was going to walk to go see my girlfriend. And she said, yeah. While walking with the iPod, yes, I got jumped and the iPod got stolen from me. I also came back with the headphones. Sunday accused me of selling the iPod, and I told her there's no way I could sell an iPod without selling the headphones and without selling the charger.
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
When she did get at me about the coins, and I did tell her that I took a couple of the coins, she did admit to me that her kids told her that they were playing with the coins because they thought that they were Chuck E. Cheese coins.
Go ahead.
The coins. I did admit to Sunday that I did take 5 of the coins when she did call me.
Why did you take 5 coins?
Because my money was taken from me, Your Honor, and I was off at that, Your Honor. I'm not going to lie to you. So I did take 5 of the coins because 5 of the dollars of my dollars were missing from me, and I agreed to Sunday that I was going to pay her back the $5, and I did pay her back the $5. Yes, I paid you back the $5. The PSPs, I did ask her kids if I can use the PSP. I asked them if I could play the game that was on the dresser. They looked for the PSPs and they couldn't find them. A couple days later, she called me saying that I had took the PSPs and I wasn't allowed over at her house, and that I need to apologize or pay for it or something like that. I told her that, well, when she finds the PSPs, then I'll be waiting for her apology. And that was that.
Your Honor, may I speak, please?
It's not necessary.
Okay.
Not necessary.
As far as the coins, might I add, when she did get at me about the coins, and I did tell her that I took a couple of the coins, she did admit to me that her kids told her that they were playing with the coins because they thought that they were Chuck E. Cheese coins. And yeah, they told you that, and you told me that over the phone. I don't know why you're trying to act like it's a surprise. It's not a surprise. Well, that's pretty much it, Your Honor.
All right. Have you ever felt petroleum jelly, motor oil?
Yes.
Feels just like slime.
Ooh.
The kind of theft you are guilty of is slime.
I'm not
That's
guilty of any
a nice
kind of
way of putting it.
Well, I'm not guilty of any
That
kind
makes
of
you slimy. Your character stinks so badly that it
You can
would
smell
not
it, huh?
even suffice to be disguised by the odor from an overripe dumpster doing a garbage strike that's been out there in the middle of July at 105-degree heat for a whole month.
Yes.
It would overwhelm the stench of a graveyard that was undug. You are a pathetic, miserable,
you, right?
lousy specimen of
You're not
slime.
talking about me.
Okay.
And I'm talking to you,
I
and
ain't
by
gonna
the
say
way,
you get
what,
disrespected.
leave. You are a lowlife that's
You're a
scoundrel.
lowlife. You're the one sitting on the throne trying to tell me I'm a lowlife. You don't know nothing about me. What do you know about me?
Okay. You know what?
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
I'll
wait,
walk
wait.
out.
Tell
I'll
the
walk
fool
out.
what his
I'll walk
problem is.
out.
He's not going anywhere because you're under detention. Stop him before he gets off of the place.
Proceedings?
Yeah, right.
Right.
Now, let me tell you what I'm doing. Since he absented himself, there are several separate instances of misconduct, tortious misconduct, thievery. One involves each of the 2 PSPs, that's 1. Your iPod Touch, that's 2. Your coins, that's 3. What I'm going to do is $399 iPod Touch on yours and $2,500 in punitive damages. That's to your cause of action, Miss Miracle Hollandquest, right?
Yes.
Now, ma'am, relative to your coins, I'm only going to take the nominal face value. That's $28. On top of that, I'm giving you a nice total of $4,800 in punitive damages. Portable PlayStation, including the associated games, for the benefit of your children, I'm going to make that another $750 in punitive, along with the $187.
Thank you.
So that'll be your award accordingly. By the way, don't get him out of jail. Let him stay down there.
Oh, no, Your Honor.
His courtroom is now, he says.
The defendant interrupted the woman who took him in as if he had vital information that might contradict her story. When it was his turn, he did not impress or enlighten anyone. He'll pay.
It's a Cadillac.
What model was it? What year was it?
95. And
That's the question. What sort of vehicle do you drive?
A 91 Escort. I have the picture.
All right, hold your point.
Okay.
I asked her, will she put the car in her name? She said she'll think about it. I told her I would give her $500 if she put it in her name, and she agreed to put it in her name. 2.5 years later, she came to me and told me that she wanted to get a second mortgage on her home. And I asked her, I said, why is that? She said, well, I'm going to pay off my credit cards. The mortgage company told her that if she have to pay off all of her credit, such as the car and her credit card, then she came to me and told me that I'm going to have to pay off the car. And I told her, we don't have to pay off the car.
Yes, you do. See, the problem is her credit report comes through. Just about every payment was late. That knocked her credit rating down quite a number of points. You financed a car that we show has had a delinquent payment for every single payment for 2 years.
No, sir, it wasn't every. I have everything right here showing that I wasn't late every payment. Then also,
yes, she was.
No, I was not.
Yes, she was.
She wanted to fight. Look,
Pass those up.
here, right here.
I really don't think you need to go there right now, because if you do, I'm going to ask you some questions
You can.
about what's going on between the two of you for a long period of time. Now, okay. Also, we have this other matter here, the traffic tickets and parking tickets.
That's right.
I mean, about $500
We're
worth?
about $500-600.
No, I paid every penny I owe her. I don't owe her nothing. You have the evidence. Because she wrote it in full, paid off.
She forfeited the contract.
No, I did not.
She said when you finally paid her off, she gave you a receipt for paid in full. You are suing her for overpayment.
Yes, sir, it's right there.
But you see, what you failed to deal with, this overpayment is simply paying her back what she had to pay off to pay this note off to get out from under this bad credit situation you put her in.
Sir?
And that she had late charges, finance charges, and everything else that were in addition to what had already been agreed upon because of your delinquency.
No, sir.
And by the way, why did you give me all of this about how many protective orders have you applied for?
Well, she was so
against
nasty.
your
I
daughter?
had
Wasn't nasty at all.
She was so nasty. I was
And the
dealing with her.
judge dismissed it.
No, he didn't miss that
Yeah,
one, though.
he dismissed it.
2002, I had to go down and get a PPO on her. Because order for me to finish paying her the note.
All the time.
Order for me
She
to
always
finish
tried to
paying her the
harass
note.
me with
She was
something.
very, very nasty to
Tried
her
to
mother.
find a fault.
You are very, I ain't trying to
Yeah, you
find
trying to
nothing.
find a fault.
We
No,
got
ain't no
proof.
principle, nothing.
We got proof.
No proof? Ain't no proof.
It is proof.
This
He
proof
got
of you.
it.
How
He
you
got
got
what I
it?
paid.
Stop. What your complaint was is that you said your daughter, when you refused to pay off the balance of this loan that she had incurred on your behalf to get a Cadillac for you when she's driving a 91 Escort, and you got to have you a Cadillac, you complained against her because she took the license plates off of the vehicle and said the vehicle's in my name, there's no insurance on it, you haven't paid on it, I'm not going to ruin my home, my husband, my children, lose my house because you won't pay.
No,
and she
sir.
took the license plate.
No,
Look,
sir.
Pete, look. Victim states offender removed license plate from vehicle, and victim has gotten parking ticket in vehicle. Not one, $500 worth.
No, sir.
That were charged to her, and they refused to renew her driver's license because of the pendency of the parking tickets, and were threatening to cancel her registration on her 91 Escort because of the tickets that had not been paid that you incurred.
No, sir, that's not true.
Yes.
That's not true. That is not true.
Is it true?
No, it's not true.
Okay.
She's a liar.
I'm not no liar.
No, you're a liar.
No, I'm not no liar. Then she also got an accident in the car and she ain't had no insurance.
No insurance.
I did.
No insurance
And she's
at all?
jacked up right now behind that because
No,
of
she's not,
failure
sir.
to deal with financial responsibility.
She's not behind in nothing. If I had run her credit, she couldn't have got no second mortgage.
I had to keep my credit
No,
correct.
no. You don't sit here and lie.
I don't have to lie.
Yes, you did.
No, I don't. I didn't even have to get the car. I told you I didn't want to get the car.
Excuse me. You swore to this? You say your daughter purchased a pistol to go shoot you with?
What? That's a lie.
No,
No,
that's
that ain't no
what
lie.
she said.
No lie.
She said she got all up in your face, but you swore falsely.
No, I did
You
not.
said that the respondent, that is your daughter, resided in the same household with you.
She was in my household. She real nasty. She wanted to fight me.
No,
That's the reason I
no,
got
that
the
wasn't it.
PPO.
No.
Yes, it was.
She wanted some more money.
No, I did not.
Stop. What is all this about she wanting to fight you? You complained
Yes, she
against her
did,
when
Honor.
she was 13 years old about her threatening to whip you or fight you.
Yes, she did.
That's when you
That
had
was
the
13
gun,
years
remember?
old.
Up at the
She was
business.
13 years old.
No, you don't
She
know
hit
about
me
it.
when she was 13 years old.
That's your fault if your 13-year-old hit
Yes,
you.
yes.
What about the year before when they got you for pulling either a knife or a pistol on your 12-year-old daughter because she wanted to listen to hip-hop instead of gospel?
I don't know nothing about that, sir.
We're at the candy shop store.
No,
Remember that? With
no,
my cousin and everything?
I don't know nothing about that.
You didn't want to hear no
No,
devil music.
I did
remember?
not hear that. I don't know nothing about it.
What it says, you
I
didn't
don't
want
know
to hear
nothing about
devil's
it.
music.
Yeah.
You living in Motown.
Sir, I don't
Can't
know.
deal with And
Well,
look,
she
you
just
my
lied.
age. Don't you even go there about that's devil's
She lied.
music.
I'm
She
not
lied.
lying.
She
I got
lied.
witness all the way, honey.
No, she hit me
I did not
because I
hit
was
you.
chastising her. You're supposed to chastise
No,
your
you tried to
children.
hit me in my
I
face.
was
You tried to
chastised.
get the stitch
With a
cord.
knife?
No, sir, I
All
never
that.
had a knife.
Yeah.
I
Right
never
with
had
the
a
knife,
knife.
With the knife. With Bush knife.
No.
I'll knock you right in your mouth.
No,
At 12 years old,
No.
that's what you got
That's
jacked
a
up
lie.
for.
That's a lie.
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
I know I don't owe her any money. I do know
So
that.
you just do wrong to
no,
people and
no,
just
I
act
ain't
like
gonna
you
do
don't
wrong to you.
remember.
No, I ain't doing wrong to
Yes,
you.
you did. Yes, you did.
And later today,
What did you see? This thing about this devil's music here. What's that
I
all
don't know
about?
nothing about that. I don't know
You
nothing
remember
about
that?
it.
You don't forget?
No, I haven't forgot it 'cause I don't know nothing about it.
Yes, you do.
I do not know
Yes, you do.
anything about
Yes,
it,
you
sir.
do.
I know I don't owe her any money. I do know
So
that.
you just do wrong to
no,
people and
no,
just
I
act
ain't
like
gonna
you
do
don't
wrong to you.
remember.
No, I ain't doing wrong to
Yes,
you.
you did. Yes, you did.
Sir, I
Why'd
do
you
not owe
bring her
her
here?
nothing.
Why'd you bring her here?
To get some money.
Why get some money? No,
Yeah, to get some money.
No,
You-
no.
You owe me about $6,000.
I don't owe you nothing. Compared to that, I have
Actually,
proof.
ma'am, I've calculated it's closer to $7,000.
Okay, yeah.
Sir, I got proof. I got proof, and you have the
I'm
proof.
not hearing it. I see that under oath you gave false affidavit to the state of Michigan, said your daughter resided with you at the time she was threatening you. You swore that she was attempting to purchase a pistol, threatening to take your life.
No, sir, that's not so.
It's in here. You swore to it under oath.
You-
And you running around talking about devil's music when she was 12 years old, taking a knife up to your daughter,
No,
talking
no,
about
I
you
didn't
going
do
to
that,
take
Your
her
Honor.
away from
I
Satan
did
and all
not.
this nonsense.
I did not do that.
Hey, you tell me your side of things.
Oh, wait, Miss, Your Honor, let
No, you had enough. Go ahead. What happened? You were 12 years old?
Yes, I was 12
Where
years old.
did this take place?
It's her place of business. She had two businesses. She had a candy shop with the game room, and she had like a record shop.
So what happened?
She was 13.
What had happened was that I was listening to, the devil music, the hip hop, and she didn't like it because it was on a Sunday.
Where were you? In
You
her
lying.
record shop?
You
Yes,
lying.
at the candy shop. Yes.
Yeah, she's selling the devil's music, but you can't listen to it.
Right. So she got mad.
What was the devil's music?
No, wasn't selling
Like
record
Keith
there.
Sweat, Joe
No,
LeBert.
we wasn't. It was a party store. It wasn't a record. She don't need to stand here
It
and
was
just
a
lie
party-
on her mother. It was a party store.
Sure.
It was a party store.
It was a party store. They had the video
No.
machines. Anyway, it was some
No,
young
it
boys
wasn't-
that
it
was
was
in the
a party
video
store.
machine, and she thought that I liked the demo. They was looking at me.
No.
And so she
Hell,
go.
that's been almost 30 years ago.
We wasn't selling music. We
Yeah,
wasn't
she was-
selling records.
Something wrong with your memory.
Something wrong with your...
Stop. What happened now? Come on, definitely.
So what happened was, so she told me not to play it no more, and she tried to hit me. So we swing, and I had hit her, I think in her nose, and busted her nose by swing because she was trying to hit me in my face. Then she went by the candy shop and went and got her pistol and came back and had pulled it right here. Then her sister was like in there, come on. So we went into the storage room and pushed back, and she gonna try to hit me in the head and had to play with the pine sauce.
No, she just lying.
I'm not lying.
You lying.
So you were 12 years old.
I was 12 years old.
No, she was 13 years old when she did hit me. Because I asked her to do something.
What happened with that? She says at 13 you threatened to hit her.
She hit me, not no threat. She did.
Hit you where?
You did hit me.
Yeah, I hit you when I was trying to protect myself.
No, you did not.
Oh, man, I tell you.
So you're going to pull a knife on her and the way you
I
did...
knife on her and then sell it.
Quiet.
Sir, I didn't pull a knife on her.
Yes, you did.
Pull a
I
pistol.
Pistol.
Didn't pull the pistol.
On your 12-year-old daughter.
No, I did not.
See?
Sir, I did not.
13-year-old threatening mama, that's your fault.
What proof does she have?
I have a lot of proof.
What proof does she have?
Well, I'll give you... let me tell you what a proof is.
What proof is it?
Well, here's her word. She's on oath. Let me tell you why her word carries more weight than yours does. $500 unpaid tickets. She can't get her license renewed, can't get her registration renewed. You go down and attempt to get her arrested twice. You falsely swear on an application to get a personal protective order against her 2 times. She takes out $11,000 some odd to clear the title on this Cadillac, but you don't account for the 16.9% interest she's got to pay because her credit rating is down because of the 22 30-day or more late payments that you've made. So she's out of pocket almost $7,000. She's saying forget it, and you got to be ignorant enough to come in here and hustle her mama talking about I overpaid her $1,200.
Well, I did. I paid the months that she said pay it over. No. I did. I got proof of it.
Your jurisdiction limit in Detroit, Michigan for small claims is $3,000.
Yes, it is.
$3,000 awarded to the defendant cross-complainant on her cross-complaint. She wins. Yours is dismissed. That's how much I think of your situation and how much I think of her.
Court is in recess. Ladies, I'm going to ask you to go out the door and to your right.
You understand that the late payments can have an effect on her, right?
Yes, ma'am, but
why should she have to deal with that? Why?
She did it because she wanted to. She got a second mortgage because she want to pay off her credit cards.
You don't appreciate this at all, do you? You don't appreciate anything that she's done for you?
No, ma'am.
Wow, she's not getting it. How does that feel when you hear her not appreciating it?
It's something else, but you know what? I still love my mother. You know, whatever the circumstances is, I still love her.
Can I get a hug between the two of you? Mom, daughter. Now, we're on to the next case.
On this day, we're gonna do it the right way.
Judge Joe Brown wants to hear what...
Judge Joe Brown.
In the courtroom today, she says she allowed her friend to move in only to find out she was lazy, jobless, and a slob. Customer service representative Tiana Nero says her former friend owes for 6 months of rent and bills. Defendant Tanya Dozer says Tiana forced her out of the apartment. Now, here's Judge Joe Brown.
You first. How long have you known her?
I've known the defendant for the past 6 years. I met her in high school. And I found I was pregnant in October of 2003, and I decided to get me an apartment at that time.
Why didn't you move in with the child's father or discuss...
The child's father, he lived in Los Angeles.
He's in doing time now.
Yeah, he currently is.
All right. So what do you decide to do when you say you were going to help her out?
Because where she was living at, she said that she didn't like the environment that she was living at, which was her aunt's house, and she said that they were always stealing her money when she got paid, and so I told her that I was moving in my apartment in October, that she can come and stay with me to help her out, and that she could help me pay with the bills and everything. And she moved in with me on the second week towards of November, and at that time she gave me $200, and I told her that my rent was $560, that she would only have to pay me $250 of that. And then that should also have to pay me $50 for the groceries and then $75 for the utilities. And then everything just started getting hectic. The first week of December when she came there with me, I came home and there was always trash on the floor. There was always dishes everywhere. No, there was dishes everywhere all the time. Every time I came home, there was food all over the counters, and I asked her, why won't you clean up, Tanya? Why won't you clean up? Then she came home one day talking about, oh, well, I quit my job because I didn't like the commute. It was too far for me to drive. So I understood that because I used to drive.
Like a personal problem, though.
Yeah, personal problem, yeah.
I'm curious about the boyfriend, though. Where was her boyfriend during all of this?
Her boyfriend
she said she threw a party for her boyfriend going away, and that's why you got upset with her, amongst other things. So where is her boyfriend while all of this is going on?
He was always there. Every time I came home, he was there. He was not always there. Every time I came home, he was always laying on the couch.
I was just curious as to where he was working while
he didn't have a job. He was a hustler. He was working. That's what he was. And he wasn't giving her any money either.
Sorry excuse for a man. So what drugs was he selling then with no job? He had money.
Weed. That's what he so-called was selling. And he still didn't even give her none of the money that he was collecting from that to give me for the rent.
Because he wasn't selling weed.
So by the following year, which she claimed that she was going to pay me with her income tax in January, she never even paid me from that because she said her income tax fell through, that they didn't give her any money back.
Okay. So tell me about the complaints you had with her. You say
that's all she did was complain every day.
Well, I'm sure after this is over, she'll thank you if you continue to help her out with her case. I'm making side comments like that. So she complained every day. You say that she'd have a lot of people coming over.
Every day.
She'd throw a lot of little social sets. Everybody'd get drunk, drink a lot, and smoke weed on the premises.
Yeah, it was okay when she had company, but every time I had company, it's a problem.
Well, yeah, she's paying the rent. It's her
I was
place.
in there, so I mean.
What's that?
I was staying there, so I was able to have company.
So how are you saying that if all you put up was $200 for this period of time? You're freeloading.
No. I would buy fruits and vegetables for myself because I'm supposed to be so healthy during my pregnancy.
I know.
She would eat up all my fruits and vegetables.
And then you got to worry about other problems because of getting a contact high off of somebody smoking a little herb and spice.
And she'd say, we can go in the bathroom. We can go on the balcony. It's not going to bother you.
What happened on this last party situation? What went on?
Basically, it was the final straw where she was supposed to get money from her mother and her father to give me. And I came home late, about 11 o'clock. It was actually my cousin who came there with me. She could even vouch for what she seen. As soon as I walked in the door.
Let me hear from your cousin. Step up, cousin. What did you see when you got there?
Nothing.
What did you see when you got there?
Well, when my cousin, she got off of work.
I got that. When you arrived at the premises, fast forward.
Because at first I was sitting in the car and then they were
walk through
I
the door.
heard the argument and everything, and then that's when I came in the inside and I was like, what's going on? And then she was like telling Tanya. Well, my cousin, she was telling Tanya to get all her stuff to get out, and I seen a gang of people. First when I walked in, it was
a gang of people.
Like about 10 people. It was a cloud. First I couldn't even see anybody because it was a cloud of smoke. It was a cloud of smoke in the apartment.
Stop.
I wasn't. Ladies.
Stop. Stop. We are at a cloud of smoke.
When I first walked inside the apartment, all you see is smoke in there.
I hate cigarettes.
Smoke. Weed
Stop
smoke.
mumbling. You're interfering with your witness.
Weed smoke, cigarette smoke, beer bottles, bottles of Hennessy, expensive bottles, so I don't see how she couldn't pay rent because all this expensive alcohol was there. And she's telling her, you know, you need to get out. And her friends are all looking at my cousin like, and your cousin's tripping and da-da-da. And I'm like, what is going on? That's all. I mean, I just seen.
Okay, that's what you saw. Now let's go to you. Defend yourself.
Okay, well, first of all, I moved in November, like the first week, and I gave her $200. And then December, I quit my job because I was commuting back from there to where I was living at, and it wasn't enough money anyway. I was paying more gas. And then I was looking for a job, and I told her, and she was fine. And in April, when my boyfriend was going away, I threw him a party in which I told her, and I don't know if she had amnesia or what she has, but I told her that I was going to throw a little party, and it was only going to be a couple of people over, which there was a couple of people.
Sounds like at least 10.
No, it was like 4 or 5. It wasn't even that much people.
How'd you pay for the goodies that everybody was?
Well, my boyfriend's friend paid for all the stuff that was there.
4 or 5 people, but you guys are 2. Your boyfriend's friend and him, that's already 4.
Yeah, and I said 4 or 5.
All your other friends, Tamika and
4 or 5.
her
anyway,
sister.
And she came in, it was
already
April.
Named 8.
But there was 4 or 5 people there.
There were 4 or 5 people there.
Not including the people that were in the bathroom and in the back rooms.
There weren't nobody in no back room.
There was somebody
no,
in
there was
my
not
room.
nobody
Yes,
in no
there
back.
was. Yes, there was.
Anyway,
there was someone in my room.
In April 26th, that's when she came in and she started tripping on my company, telling them to get out. I mean,
Were they smoking in the place?
Yes.
No.
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
You get that funky
It was foggy.
nicotine smell and all of the
There was
drugs
blunt
and
wraps
everything.
all over the table. There was like 6 blunt wraps.
I walked in
Oh,
like when the
blunt
door
is
was
when
open.
they put it in a cigar, so it
They
really
are
gets wild
exaggerating.
up in there.
Yeah.
And later today,
So you
plaintiff in this case says allowing the defendant to move in was a disaster. She says the defendant promptly quit her job and did a lot of partying. Let's take a look.
continue, please.
They were smoking on the balcony cigarettes. They weren't. They
And
were
the
not
balcony was
loud.
open.
Oh, well, it seems like there was a little bit more being smoked.
No, that's what they're
there.
saying. Yes,
Well,
there
they
was.
test it. That's the testimony.
Cigarettes don't
there,
make
no?
that much smoke.
That's what they're saying. Yes, it does. Anyway,
Was it that much smoke?
no,
Yes.
it was not.
It was foggy.
If that was okay,
Get that funky
It was
nicotine
foggy. How could it be
smell and all
foggy?
of the curtains, the
There was
rugs,
blunt
and
wraps
everything.
all over
They
the
were-
table. All over the table. There was like 6 blunt
They were
wraps.
hotboxing. All the doors were closed. That's why it was so foggy in there because all the
now,
doors were
why-
closed.
you guys are it was foggy. It was
I walked in
Oh,
like when
blunt
the door
is
was
when
open.
they put it in a cigar, so it
are
really gets wild
exaggerating.
up in there.
Yeah.
No, it was not.
Yeah.
It was. If it was wow, I'm pretty sure the manager would have came over. said,
No,
"We need to turn the
don't
music
give me
down."
I have-
that
I have
argument
cool
about
neighbors
if it
that
was
not
all
gonna
this
say
and
nothing.
that, and this
I
would have
have cool
happened.
neighbors. They're cool with me.
They don't like you. You don't like them. No, let me tell you.
My
One day,
neighbors
one
are
day
cool
the
with
neighbors
me.
were playing TV. She's pregnant. She has a broom.
So what?
Hitting
It
the
was too
ceiling
loud.
with the broom and cursing the neighbor out. Just because she's
Because it
pregnant,
was so
tripping.
loud.
In high school, they didn't like her. All she did was talk about people, complain all the
No,
time.
as the biggest slob in Lancaster.
Not just talking about the whole
Stop,
Lancaster, they don't
stop,
like her.
stop,
Okay.
stop. Okay. What was it that you were going to tell me?
Well, Tiana, she is the biggest complainer in the world. Like, we're friends or whatever.
Would you tell me what in the world is wrong with complaining? when
Because
you
all
have the
she
right
does is
to
complain about
complain?
everything. But then,
And look. Do you pay the rent?
yes, I do.
Somebody comes in there, hasn't given you a dime, starts telling you what you're gonna do in your place. What's your reaction?
I put them out, but I don't let them stay
That's
for
exactly.
November,
the case
December, January,
we're
February,
dealing
March,
with.
April.
A best
Well,
friend
I
for
don't
6
let them
years.
do
All
that.
right, your
Well, then
witness.
I don't sue them.
Your witness
I don't
has
sue
stated
them.
the essence of your
Best friend
case.
around here.
Respect, please.
The witness has stated the case for the plaintiff, but it's the defendant's witness.
Exactly. Do you want me to tell you my story?
I don't want to hear it. You're out of the mouths of babes, etc., etc. You just added some material to the pot here to stir.
I
Judgment.
don't smoke weed, first of all.
We didn't
so-
say you
Well, you said
smoke
something
weed.
about pothead. I don't
That's-
smoke.
That isn't what I said. I just said you added some
Well-
interesting material to the pot.
He said pothead.
I didn't say pothead. I said that it's going to be stirred. Now, is it on your mind? You need something to chill out or something?
No.
She
Man.
probably needs
She
some.
probably does.
Yeah, well,
You need
Before
some.
we came
They are the biggest
Anyway,
hypocrites in the world.
quiet.
I swear.
Quiet.
I ain't gonna say what you need.
Well, be quiet. I'm not used to getting talked back to. Don't anybody open their mouth. If they do, it will be costly. We have one 20-year-old friend of another 20-year-old who has problems at home with her relatives, so she decides to move in with the plaintiff. At her convenience, she decides to quit her job because it is too far to drive, and she cuts herself off from the wherewithal to take care of her obligations, to wit, paying the rent. Well, some of her people wind up giving her some money, but it's more important to have a send-off party for the boyfriend, who seems to have been living over there for this entire period of time free of charge.
No, that don't make sense at all.
Yeah, well, he's up there every day. He uses
He
the
wasn't
water,
there every day. He
flushes
was not there
the...
every day. He lives in the valley. He
Well,
was living in
I'm
the valley.
sorry. He was enjoying
there
the
every
benefits.
day.
Didn't I tell you not to interrupt? It'll be costly. That's $50 extra added on to the judgment for contemptuous behavior. Now shut your mouth. Shake your head again. I'm adding another 50. Stand still and act like you've got some respect. Your boyfriend's laying up there with a whole lot of free time. You're about to get yourself in the same situation she got herself in.
That won't happen.
You're like,
I'm sorry.
and over here, you already made your mistake. Don't make another one in life. but I'm going to give you what you asked for. That's $28.75 plus the extra $100 for $250 assessments for inappropriate behavior. Judgment accordingly, $29.75. End the call.
This court is in recess. Ladies, you're excused. In a moment, I'll have you step out the door to your right, and you all may follow me.
The plaintiff says her former roommate never paid rent and continued to smoke marijuana when she was pregnant. The judge awards her just over what she was asking. Now, on to the next case.
On today's Judge Joe Brown, they were going to the chapel, going to get married.
We went out for 7.5 years. We were engaged for 2.
Longer than most.
Then she left him at the altar.
She informs me that she's been seeing someone else for about a month.
That's cold-blooded. In life, it's about being real. It's about taking care of your own business.
Real cases of passion for justice. Judge Joe Brown.
In the courtroom today, he says his wife-to-be turned runaway bride and she took the engagement ring with her. Real estate broker Aaron Losness says his ex-fiance won't return the engagement ring. Defendant Allison Lee says she took the ring because she paid for it. Now, here's Judge Joe Brown.
Let's say you're suing the defendant for your contribution to the cost of an engagement ring. You say she called the wedding off 10 days before it was to occur and advised you that she had started seeing someone else. Is that right?
That's correct.
And how long had you been acquainted with the defendant?
We went out for 7.5 years. We lived together for 6. We worked together for 6. We were engaged for 2.
Longer than most.
Right.
We get 2 weeks, 3 days, a month, you know.
The whole thing started over this check for $4,600 that I gave her dad for an engagement ring. The reason why I gave it to them is because her parents knew wholesale jewelers. She was very particular with the type of ring she wanted. She's a princess. She wanted the princess cut. She wanted the platinum, everything done to her specifications. So the ring took 8 months to make. Here's a copy of the check for the ring. 8 months later, her mother hands me the ring.
Lots of energy, I see.
Now that it's constructed, we're at a restaurant where we worked at. There's 10 people there, family and friends. I see the ring. I have probably for about 2 minutes, and then I get on one knee and I propose to her. And I have pictures of me proposing to her as well. From there, that was in January. Then 10 days before the wedding, just like you had said, she informs me that she's been seeing someone else for about a month and breaks it off. I have a copy of the wedding license, too. She tells me that she's been seeing this other person, and, Your Honor, I did not see this coming at all. Just 2 hours before she told me, she went and bought the flower girl's dress. Not to mention, the only indication I might have seen was that 2 months earlier, she said we should stop having sex until the wedding day. Thinking it's special.
This has nothing to do with whether I owe you money for the ring or not.
I'm just trying to lay the groundwork with what I'm dealing with.
Our sexual life have anything to do with whether I owe him money?
It's
apparently,
like, excuse me, hold on. Let me give you a piece of advisement as to a thing that the court has in mind. Historically, if the bride backs out of it or the groom has good cause to back out of it, the item is returned to the groom. So, now, let's get into that. I heard somebody out there got caught in that situation. Now, let's get back to this. I see, reading this, that the bride has, in fact, the ring, right?
Right. Well,
and what you want is what you put into the ring.
Right. Not a penny more.
Not one penny more. It's $4,600 you say you put down.
Right, I have that check that I wrote from my mother and I's joint account. It had nothing to do with her money. That was payment for the ring. And right then when we discussed, she told me that she was seeing this other guy. We had a joint checking account. In that joint checking account, there was roughly $7,300 in there. That was on a Tuesday night. The Thursday prior, I have a deposit for $5,100 from AAA for my car being vandalized and my stuff being sold that was mine, not hers. There's also a deposit of $2,500 that my father gave us as a pre-wedding gift, partial. So I'm not insinuating that she waited for those items to clear before she left me, but she couldn't have picked a better time to leave me, monetarily speaking. So she said that she needed most of the money because she had to get a first and last month's rent, deposit, whatnot. So out of the $7,300... I
didn't ask for that money. You gave me that money.
I took $2,000,
you know what?
And she took the rest.
I wouldn't have given you 2 cents had it been me. I wouldn't have got upset with it, but see, I've been around a time or two in life. But that totals out $7,603.96. And you mean to tell me, since you interjected, you got that after he put it into the joint checking account within the week? That's kind of low down.
Something to that effect. Well, I did tell her whatever she needed to get on her feet and start her new life. So I got a check for $2,000, so she kept the remaining $53. At this point, we could not decide over the wedding ring.
She got $5,300 out of this.
And I'm not asking for any of that money. I'm not trying to recoup it. I'm just trying to show that my intentions from the beginning were sincere to have this matter settled as peacefully as possible.
You two weren't married.
No, but it was in a joint checking account.
No. It's not your money. What you did is commingled funds, because his proof is that the money came to him from a settlement. That's his money. You had no legal title to it because you weren't married. Keep going. What else happened to you?
Well, at that point, we couldn't arrive at a decision about the ring, so I had to spend $200, hop in a plane, fly up to Washington, where her parents live, because at this point they were now in the possession of the ring and they were intending to sell it. And I wanted to make sure that part of those proceeds were coming to me.
Oh, let's fast forward. Is it or is it not the fact, as you say in your complaint, that they said upon sale of the ring they would give you some of the proceeds from that sale?
That is indeed the fact.
Did you, in fact, receive any proceeds from any sale of the ring?
Not one penny. I don't even know if it's sold.
All right, what's your defense?
I purchased the ring with the help of my mother. Here's the evidence.
Okay.
Appraisal of the ring.
Oh,
This is, my mother wrote a check to the jeweler for $4,600.
Okay.
And then Aaron wrote a check to my mother for $4,600 to pay her back. Yes.
And she put up some of her jewelry to finance the ring.
Correct, because the ring is worth a lot more
Who
than
has the
$4,600.
ring right now?
Yes, I have the ring.
Okay. Now, has it been sold or do you have it?
No, it has not been sold. It was trying to be sold, but it did not sell. So we decided to keep it because it has sentimental value to us.
What is that?
My mother turned in $10,000, as you can see, worth of her jewelry to get me that ring.
And you have it?
Correct.
So are you going to use it on the new boyfriend with another engagement?
I have not decided what I'm going to do with it.
Oh, well, since he paid up $4,600, he has an equitable interest of $4,600.
He paid from his mother's account $4,600.
It doesn't make any difference where he paid
I then took out a loan for $5,000 to pay Aaron's mom back the money that she put up for the ring.
That actually wasn't money to put up for the ring. That money was to repay a loan, apparently, taken out for her benefit from your parents. You want to bring your mother up here and let's see if she can explain the convoluted transactions and stuff that went on? Come on up, ma'am. You're the mother, right?
Yes.
You put up some jewelry, right?
Yes, I put up an emerald ring and a wedding band that I had had. And it all totaled out to be that $4,600 was still owed. He did pay that money. And he did come to visit me, it's true, in Seattle.
How do we get to including all of the rest of these transactions that are only peripheral and associated with the entirety, the circumstances? In other words, the $5,000 that came in from his mother and payments she made back on behalf of his mother, what's that got to do with this?
I am unaware of what that has to do with anything. All I know is that Aaron did give me $4,600. I saw that the check was written on an account that was a joint account between his mother and him. I felt like I was paid. I found out also 10 days before the wedding was to happen.
She told you.
I was just as surprised as Aaron. However, in retrospect, I feel like if you have any doubts about marrying someone, you absolutely should come forward. She did tell him the truth. He kicked her out of the house immediately, which is fair, right?
Yes.
I understand that. She understands that.
She stayed for 2 days while I spent the night at my friend's house. She talked to her boyfriend for 4 hours on the phone the night I left.
That's cold-blooded.
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown. We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiff in this case says his ex-fiancee called off their wedding just 10 days before the big day. All he wants at this point is for her to return the engagement ring. Let's listen in.
Mr. Witness here. What's your name, young man?
My name is Christian. I'm Aaron's brother.
Okay, he went over and stayed with you 2 days, so after she dropped the bombshell on him, she could have some place.
Not him, Your Honor. My friend's in the back of the audience, but I did stay there for 2 days. I let her have time to move everything. I even let her have her boxes there for a couple of weeks. I was more than cordial in giving to her needs. I gave her most of the money.
I'm not saying that you weren't. That's not what we're arguing
but anyway,
here.
You handle
We're disputing money.
Well,
that's all we're disputing.
The point is, your mother is very candid. I appreciate her candor as a witness. You've got a ring that apparently is worth somewhere between a cash value of $14,000 as paid for, and maybe a bit more than that. Why don't you guys sell that item? And
we try to.
You can't. Well, if you keep it 4 or 5 years, it'll probably appreciate significantly in value.
I just want to make one point clear, and that is that when Aaron came to visit me in Seattle, I told him that I would make sure that he got the money back, the $4,600. I did not know at that time that Allison had taken a loan out for $5,000 in order to give Aaron $3,800 to help finish paying off his mother for that loan.
Well, I think she gave you some slight misinformation. A $5,000 tender of cash was made. The defendant, your daughter, thinks that was a wedding gift, which she used to open a joint, or they used to open a joint checking account.
And where
Hold on, I'm explaining it. And it was her understanding that the money would be used to pay off a loan which she took out at that time. Now, you have proof of the deposit of the item?
The loan and the ring are two different issues. There's no correlation between the two. They just happen around the same time.
I understand that, but the bottom line is...
My mother was good.
The bottom line is, I find that this loan that you're talking about is not material to the issue at hand. It's totally disassociated with the case of the forfeiture/pledge. He's going to get his $4,600. Judgment accordingly, and the court calls.
Gentlemen, I'm going to ask you to step out the door to your right.
There were a lot of loans involved in these litigants' relationship. The critical one proves the plaintiff paid for some of the engagement ring, and he should get some of its proceeds. He wins. Now, we're on to the next case.
After a kitchen makeover, did somebody cook up a scheme?
You seem like you're honest people, so which one of you do I believe?
All rise for Judge Joe Brown. Whoa! Experience, knowledge, and a passion for the truth.
I'm protecting womanhood and promoting manhood.
Bringing no-nonsense justice to Americans everywhere.
If you listen, you may learn something.
It's time for Judge Joe.
There may be a flaw in the foundation of a deal on some granite countertops. Metal fabricator William Congrove is suing his former friend for the balance on a countertop installation job. Betty Kriski says the work was never completed. Now it's Joe time.
Let's see, Mr. Congrove, you're suing Mr. G, and you say that you installed some granite countertops in his home, and he was to be charged $1,500 for the fabrication and installation, and he only tendered $1,000.
Correct.
And you, sir, Mr. G, say that the plaintiff is asking for more money than your agreement stipulated to. Is that right?
Yes.
You first, sir.
All right, well, back in 2008, when he had purchased a new house and he was remodeling, excuse me, he asked me if I could look into putting granite countertops in his house, and I said I would look into it. Once he picked out the type of granite that he wanted, I proceeded with the job. I hired 2 of my co-workers, one to help me fabricate and one to help me install it. From there, we did the work, and time went by, and I didn't get paid. He didn't have the money, so I waited, and it just kept going on that way for a long period of time, and it started to put strains on things. You know, I'd get frustrated at him, he'd get frustrated. So I put it off, and I kept putting it off until eventually I just kind of walked away from the friendship. And my girlfriend and his wife, they've kind of lost their friendship in the middle of all of it because they didn't, you know, it was uncomfortable for all of us to be with one another. And, you know, it just was like giving me the money that I was owed was just not a priority. And, you know, I understand times are tough, but, you know, it just never, I was just never paid. As for the changing my price, that's just not true.
Well, actually, what you're presenting to me, amongst other things, is this was predicated on your being able to take advantage of a steal, basically, on the granite, and the invoice as to what you paid for the granite, the material, was $835. And you had 2 workers to assist, and it looks like each got paid $150, so that's $300 more out of pocket. So basically, you were out $135 that you had to pay out of your pocket. So let's go to you, sir. Mr. G, why is he supposed to give you the gift of $135?
Well, the original statement, yes, I came into a very lucky situation when the housing market dropped and I got a home. It needed repairs. The original conversation between me and Mr. Congrove was, hey, do you want to go out to the local home repair store with me? I've got to order countertops for my house. He's the one that said, why am I not putting granite in? I said, well, I don't have that in the budget. He said, what are they charging you for I was just going to get regular old Formica custom countertops. My kitchen's got custom shaped counters. I told him they were charging me $983. He said, I don't see why I can't do granite for $1,000 if you get the right colors of stone. I said, I can do that, but that's what my budget is. This is my budget.
Now, I see what he's saying. If this person was talking about $980-some, 900 what, how much?
983 is what I was quoted from the hardware store.
Okay, well, his got that undersold by $835 on the supply of granite. Have you seen the invoices?
No, there was no
invoices. Here, this is what he paid, the check that was processed for the granite. You guys look like you played football, but, you know, picking up those granite slabs a little work for one guy to do, so having 2 helpers in there and paying them $150 for a couple of days' work or a day's work, whatever, isn't much. Now, you have a problem here with your imprecision. See, you have to be careful when you have a discussion with somebody.
Okay. If I may, I never agreed to a price, and I would never quote someone an actual price.
Well, it's an approximation.
Well, that's not even the approximation I gave, honestly. When before I gave him an answer, I talked to one of my coworkers who had been in the business longer than I, and asked him how much I should charge for something like this, because I didn't know how much I would have to pay him and how much I'd have to pay the other coworker. And so he told me I should probably charge around $2,000. Now,
but that isn't what you told your friend.
Yes, I told him when we first talked about this that I could do this for probably between $1,500 and $2,000. And apparently when I said $1,500, that was...
Did you discuss the approximate price of the materials?
I made it pretty clear that when I got that check for $1,000 that this is what it was going to.
But you didn't have it in writing.
No.
And you see, there's nothing wrong with a handshake arrangement. That's the way most people did business.
Right.
But you have to be sure that he understands what he's going on. So, you see, the other thing, too, is I don't know whether in the course of your friendship, since your significant others also are close, were you drinking a pitcher of beer, you know, at the local pizza place, or watching the ball game, you know, or throwing a few down?
We'll be right back with Judge Joe Brown.
I used to own a painting company. And more than one time, I ended up doing a job for free. Once I quote somebody a price, that's the price. Done deal.
And later today,
they needed a vehicle because the baby was coming. So I was like, hey, this is a good opportunity for you all to take it over my car note. I received a call from his girlfriend while I was at a friend's baby shower. She was frantic saying, you know, James wrecked the car. I think he was drunk.
It's Joe time after this.
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiff in this case says his friend hired him to install some granite countertops. He says he hired a staff, bought the materials, did the work, and lost a friend over money. Let's get back to the case.
So you say, and I find this interesting, this is a matter of Irish pride.
once you say it's the price, that's the way it is, and you can't go back on your word. So that's why you're hostile, right?
Yes, sir. I used to own a painting company. And more than one time, I ended up doing a job for free, basically because I misjudged. What's this materials going to cost me? What's my labor going to cost me? Once I quote somebody a price, that's the price. Done deal.
Well,
you know, I am not going to go back to a customer and
that's the American way.
Okay.
What do you got to say about that? He's right.
I guess the heart of the matter is that was never said. I never agreed to $1,000, and that's just
well,
not.
What did you say?
I would never, as a professional, quote someone a price before I know what I have to pay for a slab of stone. He could have walked in there and picked out a $4,000 slab of granite, and then where would I have been?
Hold on. Let me just read you your language. The reason I was able to do the job and to make it so affordable for him was because I was able to get it through a contractor company I worked for. When what I purchased for him normally sold for $1,200. Now, if you talk about $1,200 plus $150 for one assistant, $150 for another, it comes out to $1,500. But you were able to get it for, quote, below wholesale for $835. So when you put the other $300 in there, it gets really closely approximate to $1,000. Now, when you don't put something in writing, it's not that someone's being dishonest or attempting to cheat you. It's just that what he heard is not what you recall that you said. Now, the way this works out, when you get yourself in a situation like this, you're just supposed to suck it up and move on. I think he was doing you a favor, so to break even without him having to be in a situation of having to pay for you, you're going to pay him the $135, just as a fair thing that he had to pay out of his pocket. I think you need to shake hands and just get this as a lesson in life, all right?
This courtroom is now in recess. It was a handshake deal for granite. Too bad it wasn't written in stone because the quote wasn't clear and the plaintiff ended up losing some cash.
Welcome to Judge Joe Brown's Decade of Decisions. One of his decisions features a professional masseuse who's accused of practicing the world's oldest profession. She says she's just good at what she does.
He was really nice. I gave him a massage, and now he thinks that I'm a working girl.
Well, did he pay you anything for it?
No.
How much did you tender to him?
Well, here's the...
Oh, okay. Let's see what we have. Miss Holly? $555?
No, $675.
$675. What do you have to say about her assertion, sir?
I let her give me a rub down, just on my back. I had no interest in her. She's much too young for me. She's not my type. And candidly speaking, I gave her a lecture. And I told her she really should look into things and try and find herself a legitimate job.
What's she doing?
She was prostituting. And candidly, I was broke, and she says, here, and threw $600 on the table.
She threw it?
Just,
yeah,
you know,
like that?
tossed it like on the desk.
It?
Yeah, and candidly speaking, I was too hungry to turn it down. And she says, I had a good night. I said, Shannon.
She gave you a freebie.
She was lonely.
Lonely?
She was looking for company. She would do anything
the other way around,
to
Mitch.
get attention.
I need attention.
You need more than attention.
Okay, Mitch. So who called me on the phone?
And who gave you permission to call me Mitch? I'm old enough to be your father.
No, my grandfather, thank you.
And why did you give me $655 or $75? Oh, you just give money to anybody that asks you?
You're not supposed to take her money either, because she's got the hots for you. Why don't you just say, here, take your money and go spend this on somebody that can handle it?
I guess my case rests.
$675 in the court cost.
So it wasn't the plaintiff taking cash for company, it was the defendant. The judge told her she'd get more for her money elsewhere. For more information on legal issues from NOLO, click on the legal resources section of this website. I'm Jackie Kessler.
Please raise your right hand. Assistant Manager Pascal Terwilliger is suing her former landlord for rent and a security deposit. Defendant Stephanie Butts is countersuing for rent, late fees, and travel expenses.
Let's see, Mr. and Mrs. Terwilliger, is that how you pronounce it?
Yes.
Well, since you are part of this, you need to step on up, sir. You're married. This is a landlord-tenant matter. You're alleging that the defendant, Ms. Butts, who was your landlady, has declined to return your security deposit, and she owes you basically a proration of 10 days return on rent. Is that right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, I'm just making sure I understand what everybody is complaining or defending against. And we have a counterclaim from Ms. Butts. You say that they owe you for 2 months' rent, late fees, and what is this, travel fees? I see that you were the landlady, but you didn't live in the area. Is that right?
No, I didn't.
Okay. So tell me what happens.
We loved the home, wonderful home. Last year, I had another child, and we started to outgrow the home. Plus, we were doing commuting back and forth to daycare and work and school. When we found a home closer to daycare and school in the same neighborhood, we decided that it would be in our best interest, even if we had to pay rent on 2 homes, to move into that home. In August of last year, we let Stephanie know that we had actually gone and talked to them and that we would be moving out and they would be contacting her to give information on what kind of tenants we were.
You allege in your complaint that you found another tenant. You filled out the new lease for the tenant. You submitted that to the defendant. She accepted it, and that tenant took over, what, on the 20th of September?
Yeah, it's not quite how it happened. We paid for September's rent and told Stephanie that we would continue to pay out our entire lease through November. We would just pay on both homes. When Stephanie couldn't find a renter, she wasn't in the state, her parents weren't in the state, I offered to show the home to potential tenants.
Well, you did so.
I did.
We'll be back with more Judge Joe Brown in a moment.
In November, I realized that they hadn't paid their utilities. There was hundreds of dollars of late utility fees and dues, and I was left with that on my credit. I don't feel it's justified whatsoever.
It's Joe time after this.
We're back with Judge Joe Brown. The plaintiff in this case says she and her family outgrew a house she was renting from her landlord. She says she worked hard for her landlord to show the place and find new tenants and was denied her deposit. Let's get back to the case.
So you showed the home, and you say you actually drafted.
I did. Stephanie asked me to rewrite our lease for the new tenant.
Which you did.
I did. I had her sign it. I made sure that $3,500 that she paid Stephanie went into Stephanie's account. And this was all with Stephanie's understanding. She said thank you. She said she actually would pay us for doing so, and I said it wasn't necessary.
All right.
On the 20th of September, when we moved out, I suggested that she prorate the new tenant for the last 10 days of September. It was $500 for the new tenant, and she paid that, which we had already paid Stephanie for.
All right. Ma'am, you have the floor.
I do agree with what part of she's saying is, but ultimately they moved out almost 3 months prior to the lease agreement, and I hired a management company and real estate agent to help me find new tenants. I also went out of my way to work with them to get them into the home with their credit without charging them extra, and I expected them to fulfill their lease agreement to the end. When I brought when I brought it up that the real estate agent was going to show the house, they had turned my home into more or less a storage unit. So that's why they moved out on the 20th. They were physically out before then. I don't know the exact dates. So it was hard for me to show the home when their stuff was still in it, when they had it locked, and it was just, I'm out of state, so it was a little bit difficult, so their help was needed to unlock the door and to allow tenants in there while their belongings were there. Then they found someone, in addition to me putting ads on the internet and having a real estate agent, they also did the same to help. And I didn't expect them to want their deposit back after leaving the lease early.
Stephanie, you repeatedly
Hold on. Don't interrupt each other. This is resolved not by what you say, but by operational law. It's a tech thing. Keep going, please.
So I didn't understand or could even comprehend that a lease agreement that they left almost 3 months early to then demand for their deposit into in November, I realized that they hadn't paid their utilities. There was hundreds of dollars of late utility fees and dues, and I was left with that on my credit and as the responsible party. So all of it combined, I felt that it was just very unprofessional, and especially having such great tenants the entire time, for them to do that at the end, I don't feel it's justified whatsoever.
Closed captioning sponsored by Bad Boys, Bad Habits Cost You Money? Huh. Call 1-877-JOE'S-LAW or visit JudgeJoeBrown.com.
Are you just 26 years old?
Yes, I am, sir.
Outstanding. You've got another business. Let's see. You have a chef agency, and you are a private chef and owner of the agency. And you rent property. Very impressive.
Thank you.
But this law is something you need to apprise yourself of. Now, it's not new law, but if you're going to be a landlady, you need to learn it. Now, over here, on your complaint, you did, from what you have given me, collect acting something of an agent for the defendant. You collected the security deposit, and that deposit was deposited directly into the account of the defendant. Now, one thing that is wrong with that is it should have been an escrow account rather than the defendant's business account, but you can work that out.
It actually
It is an escrow?
Yeah,
Very good. Outstanding. All right. Proud of you. Very impressive. So since you got a substitute deposit, you have to return theirs to them, because you've got a new tenant who takes over the rest of their lease and will be in there, and that's nothing new. That's old. So that will be your award. You get the return of your security deposit, but you are not entitled to a prorated return on the rent, because when you tendered it, that rent was an obligation for you to pay. So she can keep that. So she'll keep that. So you get $1,300.
Thank you.
All right, that'll be your award, and little education on your part. But again, it's your tender years. This is absolutely outstanding. Okay.
This courtroom is now in recess. The plaintiff found a new home to rent, but she also found a tenant for the old one. That should count for something, and it does. She deserves her deposit back. We'll be right back.
Next on Judge Joe Brown.
Why is she supposed to keep your children for free?
Is this cousin cooking up a child care con?
Am I supposed to leave work to cook the food for my children?
Give me a break.
Next, Joey.
We are back. The plaintiff may have broken her lease, but she fixed the house and fixed the defendant up with a new tenant. No money was lost, so none will be found here for the defendant. The plaintiff gets her deposit back. For information on future cases or to contact this court, check out our website at JudgeJoeBrown.com.
Maybe he has an evil twin.
Conversion of property, forgery, vehicular homicide. Oh, you killed somebody.
Some friends with benefits let the rent kill the romance.
Small business consultant Tawana Baxter is suing her ex-boyfriend for rent and eviction fees. Defendant Mark Graham says she should have dealt with the lease earlier. Now, here's Judge Joe Brown.
Let's see, Ms. Baxter, you're suing Mr. Graham, whom you characterize as your ex-boyfriend, for $2,692.
Right.
You first.
The defendant, Mark, and I have been friends for about 9 years. We dated for about 2 to 3 years, but things didn't work out, but we've always remained friends. Back in 2007, he wanted to move out into an apartment. Back then, he had bad credit, so I signed for a lease back in 2007 for him. Then he handled all of his responsibilities. He paid his rent in full for the duration of the year. Everything went smooth. He moved out with a girlfriend. In 2009, May of 2009, he and his girlfriend were having problems, and he decided he wanted to move out, so he asked if he could stay with me for just a few months until he got himself together, got on his feet. So I agreed, didn't ask for anything at all. He stayed on my couch for about a month and a half. At the end of June, he decided he found himself an apartment and asked if I would sign the lease for him again. Because he showed himself as a responsible person back in 2007, I agreed to sign the lease. Granted, he paid all costs associated with the apartment. August.
Did you stay there with him?
No, I never stayed. Not one day.
Your Honor, she was pretty much
I
dead.
never stayed there.
Like a honeycomb hideout, Your Honor.
I own a home. I never stay there. I live in my home, and that's it.
So in other words, this wasn't your legal residence. You had other real property, a home that you were purchasing. There was a mortgage on it?
Yes, it's a mortgage.
Right, you were acquiring equity and paying off the interest. Okay.
That's right.
So, hot situation, you hung out over there. But
hot situation, Your Honor.
No, I never hung out over there.
But that doesn't make her a tenant.
Makes it hot situation, though.
That's all right. You can have hot situations all you want.
Okay.
About hot situations, and what do you call it? Honeycomb hideout?
Honeycomb hideout. Hot situation.
Well, guess what? You simply seem to be a subtenant authorized as an adult occupant. So she's your landlady.
And also the leaseholder, Your Honor.
But it was a verbal agreement.
She's your landlady. You're staying there. You pay the rent. That creates a common law lease, which...
no, Your Honor, I paid all the rent. I don't pay some of anything.
Well, there's a delinquency showing. So you moved out, and you decided to leave Honeycomb Hideout. She wants her cash from you, $2,692.
Basically,
all right, you signed the lease. I've got a copy of it.
That's right.
He's authorized as an adult occupant on the lease.
Exactly.
Okay.
So back in August 6th, I spoke to him about the rent. Then he told me he had found a house and he wanted to move out. But I asked him, was the rent taken care of? He said, I had taken care of everything. On August 10th...
No, I didn't tell I was taking care of anything.
Will you stop? Keep it in your head, and then I'll let you talk about it when it gets to you.
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, go on.
So on August 10th, I called to check on everything, and the rental company tells me that August rent has not been paid, and at this point, I'm shocked. I'm like, okay, what's going on? So I call Mark, I'm confused. I'm like, what's going on? He tells me that, well, he's going to take care of it, and for me to, at that point, see what he needs to do to buy out of this lease. So I contacted the rental company, and they said, well, you have to pay 2 months of rent. They had prorated a few fees, like administrative costs of fees of that nature, and I had to pay all of those back, concession fees. Everything had to be paid back, and also the August rent had to be paid. So at this point, I'm asking Mark, you need to pay this money that's owed if you want to buy the lease, because at the time he told me he was going to keep both his house and the apartment. And so that's basically it. I feel he does owe the money. I never paid $1 towards this apartment or anything regarding the apartment. I never paid anything. He paid the deposit. He paid the first month's rent.
No, but they're coming after you because you took it out.
That's right, and I do take my credit very seriously. So in order for my credit to remain in great standing, I had to take care of that. But he does owe me for that because that was his.
So you're seeking how much?
Actually, I'm going to give you everything. It's $522.92 for the August rent, $2,169 for the break of the lease. And that included the eviction fees.
Have you done that yet, or are you seeking that so you
No, I've paid everything, and I have the receipts here.
You've broken the lease?
Yes, everything's taken care of.
Let us go now to the defendant. Now, young man, you have the floor.
Okay. First off, I was never sleeping on the couch, Your Honor. okay, at her place.
Yes, you did.
You know?
Don't interrupt.
I'm not a couch sleeper. Anyway, she is a close friend, however. We've been knowing each other for about 9 some odd years. Very dear to me, okay? And always been...
I'd hate to be one of your enemies and be
I would
subject
too,
to your
I definitely would
situation.
too. But as I was saying, very dear friend to me, and I've always been a responsible individual. She knows that. That's why. Yes. Yes, sir. Reason why I couldn't get the apartment is because I'm a convicted felon.
Yes, you have an interesting rap sheet.
The whole world
I'm
knows
looking
that.
at
I do
here.
have a rap sheet. It's my past. But anyway, Your Honor, she signs the lease. About 3 weeks on out, I found a 3-bedroom house. You know, more room. I got the house. 3 weeks into this lease, I figured, you know, we can end this lease. Okay, she procrastinated a little bit.
Wait. It's her fault.
In a sense, Your Honor. Yes.
So the point is what happens if management says, nah, we'll just let it roll.
That's
Either
what
you
they
pay
did.
the monthly lease payment or we'll take you to court.
That's what they did. That's exactly what they did, and I warned her of that, Your Honor.
Well,
but she didn't listen.
Well, I think she had affection for you and she's trying to help you out. So after doing that, you decide to say, or what you're actually saying is, why was she stupid enough to trust unreliable, trifling me?
No, not at all, Your Honor. That's never been the case, nor is that the case now. Okay, at the time, due to the rent, when she didn't go, she procrastinated to go. She demanded $585 out my wallet. And at the time of this recession, it's kind of hard. We have ups and downs. And at the time she's demanding of this money, I did not have it.
But it's hard on everybody.
Yes, exactly, sir. So I told her, worst case scenario, we go to court. Okay, we work out.
Worst case scenario, you mean she gets taken to court by the management?
No, I said we go.
You aren't on this lease.
I'm going to go with it anyway, so, Your Honor, a little support, right?
That's what he told me. He said that worst case scenario, we would go together. But like I told him, they were not looking for him. They were looking for me to pay
I
that
know.
money.
He's not even on the lease
But
except
I'm there
as an
with her.
authorized adult occupant.
Friend.
You're on the lease. Where do you get this we stuff?
Well, I could have been like Tonto, right? What you mean we? You signed the lease.
But this
Right?
is for you.
But right now, that's like, you know what a pigeon drop is?
I've seen it.
You've seen it.
On my windshield, Your Honor.
No, you don't even know what a pigeon drop is.
Okay.
A pigeon drop is a con. The interesting thing about a pigeon drop is you can't run a pigeon drop con on an honest man. And the dishonest person thinks he's so slick, he doesn't realize that somebody slightly slicker is running a con game on him.
What does that have to do with this case, Your Honor?
Because you're making me laugh. I'm trying to not snicker and start laughing out loud. Man, I am working on every skill I got, Zen and otherwise, to keep from busting out laughing at you. He's giving me a con, and the law allows the trier of fact, once it becomes knowledgeable of not just arrest, but of convictions, for felonies for most states, and in particular crimes of moral turpitude, to touch on the credibility of the witness, if not outright impeaching him.
What about change, Your Honor?
Excuse me, we don't have change because I think you're still probably on parole or probation.
Not at all, Your Honor. I'm a clean man, been clean for the last 5 years.
I don't have to believe you. 5 years, my foot.
5 years, 04 last conviction, Your Honor.
Well, you have, let's see, 2.5 years ago.
What about now, Your Honor?
Conversion of property. Oh, that's 2.5 years ago.
That wasn't me, Your Honor.
Oh, yes, it was.
Facts right. That wasn't me.
We have forgery. Oh, let's see. We can keep going. That's just page 15.
What about the kids' functions I threw, Your Honor?
That's just page 15.
What about
we haven't
those
even
things
got
I've
up
done
to
for the community,
23.
Your Honor?
Here we go with another forgery, and that's altering forged paper.
Half of that's not me.
Oh, I bet. Forgery of an instrument.
What does that have to do with today, Your
Vehicular
Honor?
homicide. Let's go on that one. Oh, you killed somebody by accident, negligence. You couldn't even do it on purpose. Oh, you couldn't even show up to take care of your business. When are you going to stop procrastinating about being a productive man in life and get on with the business?
I'm very productive, Your Honor. Very. I'm the cream of the
She
crop.
had a J.O.B. You'll
Cream
do
of the
better.
crop.
So anyway, bottom line of his $26.92, and there's another $181 in interest you didn't put on top of it. So
Thank you, Judge Joe
that
Brown.
man, you can do a lot better.
Actually bought all that stuff she got on, Your Honor.
I did, with my hard-earned money.
Working
Sure
for a
you did.
major corporate entity as manager. Done deal. So bottom line is $2,873 in your court costs. Do better next time.
Thank you.
Courtroom is now in recess.
What was once a hot situation turned into a hot mess for the plaintiff anyway. She was stuck when the defendant wanted to move on to a bigger and better place. The judge says it was the defendant's job to make a clean